Good morning. This is Ajay Anand, and welcome to a new lesson from excelup.com. In this lesson, you will learn about acid and chemical properties of acid. What is acid? A substance which has sour taste and turns blue litmus paper to red is called acid. So whatever are sour in taste, they must contain acid. For example, curd is sour, so curd contains acid. It contains lactic acid. Tamarind, lemon, orange, so many fruits, vinegar, all of them contain acid. There are two types of acids, and they are called natural acid and mineral acid. Natural acid, they come from organic sources, and that is why they are also called organic acid. Most of the mineral acids, they are made by humans, so they are called man-made acid or even artificial acid. Some organic acids and their sources, they are as follows. Acetic acid, it is present in vinegar. Citric acid comes from lemon, orange. Guava and amla, that is Indian gooseberry, has ascorbic acid. Curd or yogurt, buttermilk, they contain lactic acid. Ant sting and nettle sting, it contains methanoic acid. So throbbing pain after ant sting, it happens of acid. Tomato contains oxalic acid, and tamarind contains tartaric acid. Chemical properties of acid. In chemical properties, you need to learn about the reactions of acid with metal, with carbonates, and with hydrogen carbonates or bicarbonates. So let us see the reaction of acid with metal. What happens when an acid reacts with a metal? When an acid reacts with a metal, then metal salt and hydrogen gas are formed. Representative equation can be written as metal plus acid is equal to salt plus hydrogen. Here is an example. When hydrochloric acid reacts with zinc metal, then zinc chloride and hydrogen gas are formed. And the equation is Zn plus 2HCl is equal to ZnCl2 plus H2. Next example is the reaction between sodium and hydrochloric acid. When hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium metal, then sodium chloride and hydrogen gas are formed. The equation is 2Na plus 2HCl is equal to 2NaCl plus H2. So these two examples, they are about metal and hydrochloric acid reaction. So you just need to keep in mind that if the hydrochloric acid is involved, then it will always be a metal chloride salt. Okay, so if it is magnesium, then the salt will be magnesium chloride. If it's sodium, then the salt will be sodium chloride. And if it is calcium, then the salt will be calcium chloride. Now next example is about reaction of iron and hydrochloric acid. So as I have said earlier, if iron is involved, it will be iron chloride. So equation is Fe plus 2HCl is equal to FeCl2 plus H2. What happens when a metal reacts with sulfuric acid? So when it was hydrochloric acid, then chloride salts were formed. If it is sulfuric acid, then sulfate salts are formed. So when zinc metal reacts with sulfuric acid, then zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas are formed. The equation is Zn plus H2SO4 is equal to ZnSO4 plus H2. Test for hydrogen gas. In many experiments, you will be asked to perform the confirmatory test for evolution of hydrogen gas. For this, bring a burning candle or a burning matchstick or a splinter near the gas. If the candle burns with pop sound, then it confirms the evolution of hydrogen gas. Now let us see about a reaction of acids with metal carbonate. What happens when an acid reacts with metal carbonates? When an acid reacts with metal carbonate, then salt formed. So equation can be written as metal carbonate plus acid is equal to salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. The first example is the reaction between hydrochloric acid and sodium carbonate. When hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium carbonate, then sodium chloride, carbon dioxide and water are formed. The equation is Na2CO3 plus 2HCl is equal to 2NaCl plus CO2 plus H2O. Next example is the reaction between hydrochloric acid and magnesium carbonate. When hydrochloric acid reacts with magnesium carbonate, then magnesium chloride, carbon dioxide and water are formed. The equation is MgCO3 plus 2HCl is equal to MgCl2 plus CO2 plus H2O. Next example is when hydrochloric acid reacts with calcium carbonate, then calcium chloride, carbon dioxide and water are formed. The equation is CaCO3 plus 2HCl is equal to CaCl2 plus CO2 plus H2O. Now, sulfuric acid is involved. So, in case of sulfuric acid, sulfate salt form. So, when sulfuric acid reacts with calcium carbonate, then calcium sulfate, carbon dioxide and water are formed. The equation is CaCO3 plus H2SO4 is equal to CaSO4 plus CO2 plus H2O. Next example is the reaction between sulfuric acid and sodium carbonate. So it will be a sodium salt. When sulfuric acid reacts with sodium carbonate, then sodium sulfate, carbon dioxide gas and water are formed. The equation is Na2CO3 plus H2SO4 is equal to Na2SO4 plus CO2 plus H2O. Next example is the reaction involving nitric acid with sodium carbonate. So when nitric acid reacts with sodium carbonate, then sodium nitrate, water and carbon dioxide gas are formed. The equation is 2HNO3 plus Na2CO3 is equal to NaNO3 plus 2H2O plus CO2. What happens when an acid reacts with hydrogen carbonates, or hydrogen carbonates, they are also called bicarbonates. The same thing happens as happen in the case of carbonates. Once again, a salt, carbon dioxide and water are formed. When an acid reacts with metal hydrogen carbonate, then carbon dioxide gas, respective salt and water are formed. The equation is acid plus metal hydrogen carbonate is equal to salt plus carbon dioxide plus water. Example is reaction between hydrochloric acid and sodium bicarbonate. So when hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium bicarbonate, then carbon dioxide, sodium chloride and water are formed. The equation is NaHCO3, that is sodium bicarbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate, plus HCl, hydrochloric acid, is equal to NaCl, sodium chloride, plus CO2, carbon dioxide, plus H2O. Next example is when sulfuric acid reacts with sodium bicarbonate, then sodium sulfate, carbon dioxide gas and water are formed. So the equation is 2NaHCO3 plus H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, is equal to Na2SO4 plus 2CO2 plus 2H2O. So in all these reactions, carbon dioxide gas was evolved. So there is a test to confirm the evolution of carbon dioxide. When the evolved gas is passed through a test tube which contains lime water, then lime water turns milky if carbon dioxide gas is passed through it. So whenever the evolved gas is passed through lime water and the lime water turns milky or cloudy white, you can say, this shows that the evolved gas is carbon dioxide. This is a characteristic test for evolution of carbon dioxide. In many of the lab experiments, you will have to perform this test. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.